This week, Academy football comes to the culmination of the season as two battle-hardened foes meet on the gridiron for the 122nd time. And it was a contest that will be talked about for ages.
Oh, it's a fake. It is a fake.
I wasn't really expecting it, so when I caught it, I just started running straight.
And this game came complete with all the pomp, pageantry, flyovers, and horseplay you've come to expect from this annual tradition. On the offensive side of the ball, there were some big plays too.
The line did a great job blocking it up, and it just kind of opened up.
But the offense wasn't the only part of the team that came up with big plays.
I know I'm not going to bring him down up high, so I went straight for his legs and just holding on for dear life, waiting for the rest of my teammates to come.
And this year, the right to sing second goes to the underdog.
Came to battle every week. I'm so fortunate. My locker room is filled with such great people, and I couldn't be more happy for them.
But this was more than a football matchup. This game was played in the shadows of 9/11 and in memory of a former teammate who was killed in a training exercise just a week earlier. We'll break down the pageantry, the tributes, and the action as we wrap up this season on this edition of Behind the Lines, the Academy Football Report. Welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Graham Knight. It was what has come to epitomize Army versus Navy, an all-out battle where the gladiators leave it on the field. And so it was again, before the largest crowd in nearly half a century, as the underdog, with only 3 wins on the year, would knock off the defending CIC champ. Navy beats Army 17-13 before more than 82,000 fans just across the river from New York City, site of the tragic terror attacks of 20 years ago. The formula for the Midshipmen? Do unto Army what Army has done to most of its opponents. Run the ball and control the clock. But it will be a mistake, as the Navy coach called it, that will forever be remembered. A fake punt that took everyone by surprise.
Oh, it's a fake. It is a fake. Trying to get up to the 35. It's Fago. It's Diego Fago, the up back. And he dives up to the 38-yard line.
And just like that, the Navy Midshipmen seized control of the 122nd Army-Navy game. And here's the headline. Linebacker Diego Fago's 4-yard run on 4th and 1 from Navy's 34th wasn't even called by the coaches.
I didn't know we were going to do that. You know, we got all these signals, and our signals got mixed up. And, you know, he was making a call, and, no, Dennis, it wasn't supposed to happen. We got lucky, but like I said, it's good to be lucky, too.
I was supposed to block the closest guy to the snapper, and so I was kind of looking in that direction. When I checked it, I guess the snapper didn't hear me correctly. And we did have a fake in the game plan. We were talking about it already. And so I guess he assumed that I called the fake, and he just snapped to me, and it was just a reaction play, honestly. As a linebacker, you kind of already have tunnel vision, so I wasn't really expecting it. So when I caught it, I just started running straight, and it just happened to be right in front of one guy.
That fake punt proved to be the play of the game, extending Navy's drive to 15 plays and eating up nearly 9 minutes of the fourth quarter, capped off by a 43-yard Bijan Nichols field goal, which gave Navy a 4-point lead, 17-13. But the contest started off strong for the Black Knights. On just the 4th play of the game, Christian Anderson sprinted left for a 56-yard touchdown run to give Army an early first quarter lead just 2 minutes into the game. But Navy's coach wasn't worried about Army's fast start.
We had a long ways to go. I mean, you don't flinch. That happened so early. Probably it was good that it happened that early because it kind of settled us down a little bit. And then after that, you know, I thought we played really well on defense.
Navy answered on an 11-play, 83-yard drive, capped off by quarterback Ty Levitai's 8-yard power run to knot the game at 7. The Black Knights would add a 31-yard Cole Talley field goal at the end of the first to give Army a 10-7 lead. That's when both defenses clamped down. In the second quarter, Navy had only 46 yards of offense, Army just 34. But the Black Knights added a late field goal for a 13-7 halftime lead.
It was disappointing we couldn't finish those drives with touchdowns. It certainly would have made a difference in the game.
On the season, Army was 8-0 when leading at the half. But the Mids took the second half kick and marched 74 yards in just under 6 minutes. The key play of that drive, a 4th and 4, 26-yard run by senior co-captain Chance Warren down to the Army 2. Levitai took it in from there to put Navy on top, 14-13. Meanwhile, the Black Knights could muster nothing on offense. Of their 4 second-half possessions, 3 resulted in punts, and the 4th ended in a turnover on downs after Anderson was stopped short.
In the second half, we didn't give ourselves a chance on offense, and that's credit to Navy. It wasn't energy or any of those things. They just outplayed us. They were more physical and beat blocks, and we didn't do a good enough job.
Navy, on the other hand, was able to do what Army had done so effectively all season long: run the ball and burn up the clock. Coming into the game, the Black Knights led the nation in time of possession. But in the second half, Navy held the ball for nearly 22 minutes and held Army to just 57 yards of offense. But more importantly, the Mids held the Black Knights scoreless in the second half. But those stats are likely to be a footnote on this contest because this game's going to be remembered for the surprise fake punt to Diego Fagot.
He certainly was a factor on that play. He's a good linebacker. I think he's garnered the respect of people in that league and certainly us. Good player, and made some plays for his team today.
Sometimes it's good to be lucky. Little miscommunication there, but players got to make plays.
While it was an exciting win for Navy, who came into the contest 3-8 on the season and as a 7-point underdog, this game was played in the shadow of September 11th and honored those who died in the attacks. But there were also heavy hearts among the Navy faithful. 2 players wore special patches to remember former midshipman safety Brian Bourgeois, a 2001 graduate who was killed last week leading his SEAL team in training exercises. And for Diego Fagot, who next year will be a Marine Corps leader, he led his team with 9 tackles, and the game against Army was a chance to put a punctuation point on his Navy football career.
One of their things is that they say that they're the last of the hard. Quite frankly, we took that to heart. They think their culture is better than ours. Regardless of the score, we're going to keep playing as hard as we can, and we pride ourselves on that. I can't say enough about how they think they're the last of the hard, but it's just not the case. They're our little brothers, so.
Navy's win means the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for 2021 will be shared for just the 5th time in the storied history of the award. Each of the 3 service academies won a rivalry game this season. You may recall Air Force beat Navy on September 11th, 23-3. Army beat Air Force in the Commanders Classic on November 6th, 21-14 in overtime. Since Army won the trophy last year, the award will reside once again at West Point. The last time the award was shared by all 3 academies was in 1993. And now some housekeeping. Both quarterbacks were the top offensive players for their respective teams. Christian Anderson was 7 for 15 and passed for 108 yards and ran for another 67 on just 9 carries for Army. Ty Levitai threw for 82 and was 4 for 6 through the air and ran for 62 yards on 20 carries for Navy. Defensively, linebacker Kamante Yao registered 14 total tackles for the Black Knights. And as we mentioned, Diego Fagot was the top tackler for the Mids with 9. Navy put up 278 yards of offense, and Army had its lowest offensive output of the year, with just 232 total yards. The Mids outrushed Army 196-124, and Navy held a 34.5 to 25.5 advantage in time of possession. By the way, this was the 8th time in the last 11 games that the Army-Navy clash was decided by just 1 score. Navy now leads the all-time series 62-53 with 7 ties. And in the 50-year history of the CIC trophy, Air Force has won 20, Navy 16, and Army 9. Navy coach Ken Niumatalolo is now 10-4 against Army, and Army coach Jeff Monken is 4-4 against the Mids. Next year, the contest returns to Philadelphia after a 2-year hiatus. The teams entered the game with records that mirrored each other, and they left the same way. Navy ends the season 4-8, while Army ends the regular season 8-4, with the game in the Armed Forces Bowl on December 22nd against Mizzou still ahead. When Behind the Lines returns, we'll take a look back at both team seasons, and we start with Navy. Stick around, Behind the Lines returns right after this. We started the season talking with Pete Medhurst, the voice of the Navy Midshipmen, and Bill Wagner, Navy beat reporter for the Capital Gazette and the Baltimore Sun. As we close out the year, it's only fitting that we check in with them one more time to see what they think of the season and what they think the prospects are for next year.
At the start of the season, Coach Ken was super excited about this team, felt really good about the season, felt really positive. Is his enthusiasm maybe just a year too early in the sense of how the season went and how young his team is?
Well, there's no question that no one that's on the Navy coaching staff ever thought they would be playing so many sophomores and freshmen. And a lot of it's been due to injury, season-ending injuries to safeties, Mitch West and Kevin Brennan. Season-ending injury, as it turned out, although we never knew it, to Will Harbor, who was a starting inside linebacker. Season-ending injury to Marcel Gleaton, a wide receiver. Other injuries that forced them to, juggle the lineup. But the bottom line is, the junior class is almost missing for Navy. The players that should be juniors right now, a lot of them are gone. And it was a product of the pandemic. None of us realize how miserable it was at the Naval Academy during the 2020 spring semester and fall semester. They were on lockdown. They were basically quarantined to their rooms, and it was horrible. And nobody enjoyed it. And they came back to school not certain. Well, and especially when people were making decisions as to whether they were going to leave Navy, that's going to happen in the summertime. And they didn't know if it was going to be another semester of that. And the bottom line is a significant number of Navy players who would have been members of the class of 2023, they would have been juniors this year. They're gone. Go look at the roster. There's very, very few juniors. There's hardly any of them on the depth chart. And the senior class was rather small. There was 68 recruited players in the class that is going to graduate in 2022. They were down to 25 seniors on senior day, and about 12 of them are key contributors. So that is why so many freshmen and sophomores had to play out of necessity. They had holes in the lineup on the depth chart that had to be filled. Now, the good news is a lot of those players are talented. Rayon Lane, the safety, he's good. He played well. Inside linebacker Tyler Fletcher has played well and done some good things. So you just go on, and there's a lot of youngsters. Mikel Haywood, the kickoff returner, and he played more than he had all season at slot back against Army, and he made plays. A great catch, a very critical catch, I think a 24-yard pickup. So, yes, the future bodes well, provided they can keep the players here because, this is the era of college football. Transfer portal makes it easy to leave. And there's been far more transfers from Navy football than I'd ever seen previously, ever since the portal came into vogue and made it so much easier for guys to leave. And, I would caution a lot of players, by the way, and I'm not just speaking to Navy players, but players in general, think twice before you enter the transfer portal because there's no spots available. Because of super seniors, the NCAA giving players extra years of eligibility for 2 years running, there's no roster spots anywhere. You enter a portal, you're risking not being anywhere. And trying to go down isn't easy because the football championship subdivision schools are getting flooded with transfers. And they also have players that have been extended due to COVID. So, but it'll be important for the Navy coaching staff to retain these young players that have stepped up and showed well this season.
And I think you saw as this season went along, one of the reasons why this season went the way it did, Ty Levitai gets hurt in the opener, doesn't play against Air Force. As a guy that hasn't played a lot of football, obviously, at that point, he just needed experience in the position. And as a result, he got better. The offense got better as the season went along. They scored 35 against East Carolina, 38 in the game against Temple, despite a first half struggle. But the improvement that you're looking for from young, inexperienced players, you could argue at the end of the season, a lot of the guys making key contributions were all freshmen and sophomores on this team. And I think that's what's exciting going forward for this group. And Ken Niumatalolo and many on this staff who've been with him the entire way, they've won 105 football games. And I think they've earned the opportunity that when something is not right, they've earned the opportunity to fix it because they certainly had the ingredients and knew what to do when it was going well. And I think they've earned the opportunity to get it right.
All right, Academy football fans, that's just a small taste of the conversation I had with Navy beat reporter Bill Wagner and voice of the midshipman Pete Medhurst. If you'd like to hear the entire conversation, you can find it on our YouTube channel. When Behind the Lines returns, Erin Summers is going to take one last look at Army's 2021 season. Stay right where you are. Behind the Lines will be right back after this.
Welcome back to Behind the Lines, the Academy Football Report. I'm Erin Summers. After a 9-3 season and a Commander-in-Chief's Trophy win in 2020, expectations were high for the Army squad in 2021. The Black Knights started 4-0, then fought through multiple injuries to their quarterbacks and some tough opponents, finishing with an 8-4 regular season record. Army opened on the road at Georgia State, then faced Western Kentucky, UConn, and Miami of Ohio at Michie Stadium. The Black Knights victorious in all four. Then it was on to Ball State, without starting quarterback Christian Anderson, who was out with an injury.
I think where there was a misstep, obviously, is the Ball State game, right? You've won 4 in a row. And when you talk to Jeff Monken after that, the week after that game, maybe they thought that Miami of Ohio game just took a lot out of them physically in that game. That Miami, Ohio was a tough physical team.
Army fell behind by 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, too much to overcome in the 28-16 loss to the Cardinals. 2 more losses followed, each coming in different ways. A 1-score defeat against Big Ten foe Wisconsin and a shootout versus a Wake Forest squad ranked in the top 20. At 4-3, Army headed to Arlington, Texas for the Commanders' Classic against Air Force, a 21-14 overtime thriller, getting Army back on track thanks to a surprise passing attack.
Well, certainly the highlight of the season is the Air Force win, right? I mean, to do that in a neutral site, to do that in overtime, Air Force is a very, very good team this year.
Back at home, the Black Knights cruised to a 63-10 win over Bucknell. On Senior Day, the seniors celebrated a 33-17 victory over UMass. And then the Black Knights surprised Liberty. Army's defense shutting down the Flames' offense for the 31-16 win. With one CIC victory in hand, Army and Navy battled in the first half. The Navy defense was stifling in the second, and Army fell 17-13 to their arch rivals, having to settle for a share of the CIC.
Definitely didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, right? Because the number one goal of every season is to beat Navy, and or to win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, which involves beating Navy. And they weren't able to get that done.
It's the biggest game of the year. It's just an incredible feeling to be a competitor in that game and to lose that game. I don't know if there's any loss that feels worse.
There's a lot of what ifs, right? There's a lot of what ifs in the Army-Navy game. You know, there's a lot of what ifs when you look at these losses. You know, the Wisconsin loss 20-14. I mean, that could have, they really woke up in the fourth quarter, to be honest with you, right? I mean, they were slugging it out with Wisconsin for a while there and finally got the offense kind of moving in the right direction in the fourth quarter. The Wake Forest game, what if that pass, that fake field goal pass, is not intercepted by Wake Forest and taken the other way? Is that game different?
Army now looks ahead to postseason play and the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl against Missouri on December 22nd.
It gives us one more opportunity to put it behind us and play again and have that opportunity to go out there and compete again together one more time. And we're looking forward to that.
It's also another opportunity for Army to send the 28 seniors off with the victory.
This senior class has certainly meant a lot to our program, and they've led this team very well, starting the off season all the way through this year, and they just never wavered from their commitment.
Army can improve its record to 9-4 with a win over Missouri and will look to add to its all-time advantage in bowl outings, which currently stands at 6-3. Don't go anywhere. A look at the sights and sounds from the Army-Navy game is coming up next on Behind the Lines.
All right, Academy football fans, welcome back to the last segment of our last show for the 2021 season. And if after watching our show, you're looking to dig deeper into the rivalry between Army versus Navy, consider getting John Feinstein's book, A Civil War, Army versus Navy. It's celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and it's as relevant today as it was when he first wrote it. I had a chance to catch up with John at the Army-Navy game this past week, and here's what he had to say about his book.
A Civil War is probably my favorite book among all of those that I've written. I just recently published a book on race in sports, which is probably going to be my most controversial book and I think my most important book because of the subject matter, because it's still such a huge issue in our country. But A Civil War is a book I'm really proud of, again, because of the kids, now men, that I wrote about, the relationships that I've had through the years with all of them, really. I mean, there were 45 seniors on the two teams, and I've been in touch at certain times with all but one of them because Kevin Norman, who went to Army and died overseas in 2002. The rest of them I've been in touch with ever since. And I love it when I have people come up to me and say, I went to Army or I went to Navy because I read your book. God, that makes me feel great.
All right, I want to be on the record about John's book. I read every page, I loved it, and I highly recommend it. All right, just one quick reminder, look for our 1-hour documentary on the Academy football greats coming out in early 2022. You'll find that announcement on our website, BehindTheLinesTV.com. That's BehindTheLinesTV.com. All right, that's going to do it for this show and for our 2021 season. But as we close out this show and the season, we're going to give you one last look at the sights and sounds from the 122nd playing of the Army-Navy game, as well as announce the winner of the Osprey Award for the Best Spirit Video from 2021.
Proof human resources people don't follow football.
PAO, what's the score of the Army-Navy game?
Oh, we're crushing them. We're beating them by 150,000.
What?
Yeah, that's how many more Facebook followers we have.
Hey, Chief, what's the score of the Army-Navy game?
We got them by more than a year.
That's not even a football score.
No, that's how much faster our people promote to E5.
LT, do you know the score of the Army-Navy game?
We're down by 4.
We're down 4 points?
4 percentage points. The Army attrition rate is 36%. Ours is only 32.
C&P, please tell me that you know the score of the Army-Navy game.
Shipmate, you don't need a scoreboard to know who the winner in the Army-Navy game is. You just need a mirror. Go Navy, beat Army.
Stan, you're needed in accounting. Stan, you're needed in accounting.